gone off. Is the red light showing? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity we are done.
So please, let me just sum up. Oh, sorry.
The commission members are conferring because Dominic Ayine, who is lawyer for Delali Kwasi Brempong, NDC parliamentary candidate for the just ended by-election, interrupted his client whilst his client was making a submission. His client was specifically speaking about how the party was concerned about policing of the ballot, and as a result, they had resolved to make sure that there were party agents at every single polling station during that by-election. Whilst he was making that point, he was interrupted by Mr. Dominic Ayine, and Mr. Dominic Ayine conferred with him. At that point, he said they are done with their submission. Now, the three commissioners are consulting after which we are expected to continue. Now, earlier, Mr. Delali Kwasi Brempong made the point that he was not there when that initial incident occurred. I'm talking about the 60 officials, national security officials that we know them to be now, going to his home and demanding to enter his home as a result of a hint they had received. Now, of course, what that hint was, we have received different accounts of that now. Initially, we were told that there was a hint that there was a stockpile of arms within Mr. Brempong's home. Later, we were informed by Colonel Michael Opoku, who is the Director of Operations for the National Security Secretariat. He appeared before the House earlier today, or before the Commission earlier today. He said they suspected that different people were moving with arms to Mr. Brempong's home. Now, Mr. Brempong has stated categorically that there was no arms stockpile in his own home. There is no warehouse in his home. His home just has residential facilities and office space. So there is no such facility in his home. He also says that he saw no evidence of gunshots fired within his compound. Remember, when some of the government officials and the police officials went before the committee, they reported that they heard gunshots being fired within the home. He says that he has seen no such evidence within his home, even though he was not there. Let's go back to the commission hearings now.
It's on record that I did not bus any group of people to my house. I have a lot of friends as a practicing pharmacist since 1982 who came in either as supporters, spectators, friends, apart from those who actually had a specific role to play in the by-election.
So then, Mr. Brempong, will it be right to suggest to you that on the day you did not know all the people that came to your house and within its close perimeters? Is that okay?
Oh, certainly. I didn't know all of them. Mr.
And
Chairman.
it will also be right to suggest to you that you wouldn't know where these people had come from. I mean, every single one of them.
Oh, certainly. I wouldn't know where every single NDC person comes from. I wouldn't know.
So that takes me back to my earlier question, that if I suggest to you that some of these people had come as far as from the north, you wouldn't know, would you?
No, I wouldn't know.
Now, you have just told the commission that because you did not believe the results of the 2016 results, you fell on the NDC, National NDC as a party to supply you with human resources. Am I right?
I think the idea quite concerns, but I don't think, with all respect, I don't think you've put it right. That's also by this time. I said there were issues with our results in 2016. The abysmal performance, which did not actually show the progressive performance of NDC in the constituency. So there was research, and we found out certain things. And this was actually known to my bosses from national and the region. So they actually assisted me, they guided me to ensure that, for instance, inability to ensure that polling agents were at post before 1 p.m. did not happen again in this by-election.
Mr. Delali.
Yes, Chairman.
Did you or you did not, in the course of your account, mention the fact that you fell on National NDC for human resource?
Yeah, in a dyadic way. It was a two-way thing. As I said, I was the candidate, but because of the 2016 happenings in the constituency, the whole NDC and the national and region supervised the constituency. If you want me to explain, because after the abysmal performance, there were appearances before region, notes and memoranda were submitted. research was done. I'm sure you have heard about the Professor Kwasi Brempong report, for instance. So a lot of research was actually done on the abysmal performance in my constituency.
Now, these persons, into bracket, human resources, that were supplied by National NDC, did you have any specific purpose for them?
I think I mentioned that already, that the crowd I came to meet in front of my house, some of them were observers, and I even gave you the name of two colonels retired colonels, who previously, the previous night, came looking for their accreditation as observers. So among the people I came to meet, I certainly knew that some were observers, others were supporters, others were just onlookers, especially after the incident. When they said there was shooting in this area. In fact, most of the people who even came were people from around. You know, there are a lot of kiosks surrounding me, and I actually stay in a Bawaleshi, a traditional setup. So you agree with me, curiosity was aroused. And also, as I said, there were journalists who were actually waiting to see when I was going to vote so that they could grant me interviews. So everybody there had a purpose. Everybody, either an onlooker, a spectator, somebody who was curious, somebody who was waiting for accreditation, somebody who was an observer, and so on. I mean, I cannot enumerate all the this, but I think they were purposefully there in one way or the other related to the by-election.
But then you personally did not know the purpose for every single individual.
No, I wouldn't know.
Very well.
I certainly wouldn't know.
Very well. Would you know, for instance, if I suggest to you that some of these individuals, some of whom had come as far as from the north, were there to provide security? Would you know?
Not directly, because I also want it on record that just before 7, when I was going out of my house, I went unaccompanied. I went out in my car alone because I did not see any need for any special security. I drove back to my house when my son called me alone, because so far as I know, Ayawasu West, in which the University of Ghana resides, where I even worked for about 15 years, I thought it was one of the safest and stereotype constituency for Ghana. So I drove out alone. So even if there are people with security background, I think their role was primarily not for security. Like the colonels who came, they were coming as observers.
Very well. Now, are you able to tell the commission what time it was when you returned home?
I think before 8:30, just around 8:25, 8:30. By then, I was at the block factory. So I am sure by the time I had clearance and the briefing and all that, probably 8:45, I should be getting home and climbing up.
What time did voting begin in your constituency?
7.
So then it is right for me to suggest to you that by the time you got to your house, voting had been going on for 2 hours. Is that right?
Less than.
Very well.
Less than.
And yet you tell this commission that you had people in your house 2 hours into voting who were supposed to be observers. Am I right?
Yes, Chairman. And let me add, though hurriedly, Honorable Sam George will, if invited to this commission, will testify to that. That as at the time, there was this confusion at the violation police stations, he had observed about 17 observer tags for MPs who have not yet come. Out of 21, only 4 had picked theirs. But excuse me to say, that's off record, but it will be of interest to you.
Since you have mentioned Honorable Sam George,
Yes.
are you aware that Honorable Sam George, Honorable Neelante van der Poy, and the NDC Deputy Women Organizer came to your house that morning?
Yes.
Where were you?
I was out. I may explain that one to you. If
Very well.
I actually scheduled with some journalists to vote at 9. So it was my intention to actually get back home just before 9 so that I could go to Abuchiman to vote. I think it was when I was going around, this is that they came.
Very well. So then you agree with me, won't you, that because you were not around, you wouldn't even know the convoy they brought?
I've spoken to them. I don't think they came with any convoy. I don't think they came with any convoy to my house. I have no evidence to that, and I've not been told.
So then, you wouldn't know if I suggest to you that they came in a convoy of 4 vehicles and about 15 motorbikes. You wouldn't know, would you?
To my house?
Yes.
I wouldn't know. But please, an important thing. When Honorable Van der Poy actually came, from what my son told me, he met in person. He entered the house alone. So I want you to have that on record. So even if they came with a convoy, not into my house.
So then what you are saying is these honorable members and the deputy women organizer who came to the area did not enter your house. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Very well.
Please note the deputy women organizer was actually my manager during my whole campaign. So she has access to my house in and out.
Okay. What about Honorable Sam George and Honorable Neelante van der Poy? Did they enter your house?
I did not have any evidence of Honorable Sam George entering my house, but Honorable Nee van der Poy did enter the house and asked of me from my son.
You wouldn't also know, will you, if I suggest to you that the confrontation that took place around your house was between the national security men and the motorbike riders? Would you?
I wouldn't know. I wasn't given those details. The little detail I had about the start of the confrontation was what I told you about the gentleman from my house, Mr. Nat Tenge, who was driving out of the house, was stopped and his vehicle inspected. And according to him, the way the trains were going, he had to run away from the car.
Now, you've talked about some wounded men you visited at the hospital.
At the university hospital?
The university hospital.
Yes.
Yes. Did you have any interaction with these men?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. In fact, very brief, a short interaction. Yes. In their state, apart from saying, oh, get well soon, we're here to assist you and all that, they were actually receiving medical attention.
Okay. So then, because the interaction was short, you wouldn't even know their names, would you?
Oh, no. But No, I personally did not ask for their names. I was led by, as I said, a national executive, a national organizer.
And you wouldn't also know where in Ghana they had come from, would you?
No, I did not find that out. I did not find that out.
And you wouldn't also know the reason that brought them to the vicinity of your house, would you?
I thought I have given an indication as to what possibly could have brought most of those people to my place.
I am currently staying with the wounded men at the hospital.
I did not ask them specifically whether they were observers or they were just onlookers or they were just supporters or whatever. I did not specifically ask them.
So then, as you sit here, you do not even know what caused them the wounds, do you?
There is sufficient, though I did not see, I believe they were shot. From all the evidence that was available in front of my house, I believe 99% that they were shot.
But you did not have any interaction with the men. So what informed your belief?
Mr. Chairman, I think I have recounted events that happened in my absence, evidence that I came to see, pool of blood. Pool of blood. In fact, the videos are there. If you kindly give me your number, those that I have, I can forward to you. I am not aware, in any case as a pharmacist, that there could have been any type of harm that could have actually made people bleed so profusely onto the ground. And also amidst the numerous firing that occurred in front of my gate, I think it is most probably that it was from gun wounds.
Since you are talking probabilities here.
Sorry?
Since you are talking probabilities.
Most probably. Tilting more towards yes rather than doubt.
Is it right for me to suggest to you
Yes.
that the same reasons you have to believe that these men were shot by the other elements can also suggest that they sustained the same wounds from men said to be firing from your house because you were not there?
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I have given you how my house looks like in terms of fence walls, heights, and so on. That if I want to agree with you, or the assumption that they shot from my house, they would have shot into the sky and not through the wall or through the gate. I have no evidence that anybody has shot through a wall that has gone through the wall to go and harm anybody in front or through the gate. I have no evidence at all. So I am giving you the benefit of the doubt. If shooting was possible, it would have been into the air and above this wall, which is clearly taller than any human being.
Now,
this is my thinking.
Very well. You also spoke about finding blood on the ground. How
Pools
far?
of blood.
Pools of
pools
blood.
of blood.
Very well. Pools of blood. How far is the scene of blood from your house?
Oh. There is, we have, we have walls, and just the street in between the walls on my side and the other houses. So you're talking about 10 meters, 12 meters maximum. It was on the street, really on the street. Probably if I send you the videos, it will be clearer. If you haven't seen actually the blood pools.
I will come to the video in a minute.
Okay, please.
Now, in the course of your testimony, you mentioned one Nat. What is the full name?
Tege.
Would you please spell that for the purposes of the record?
N-A, Nathaniel, I think that's what you know. Tengey, T-E-N-G-E-Y. T-E-N-G-E-Y.
And how is Mr. Nathaniel Tengey related to you?
He keeps my house. He's my housekeeper.
Mr. Nathaniel Tengey, as at the time of the incident, where was he?
He was in the house. He was in the house and just moving a car to a workshop. And he was stopped just as he negotiated to the left, after the gate and negotiated in front of the first house. He was stopped right there.
Can he be made available?
Sorry?
Can Mr. Nathaniel Tengey avail himself?
Please. Or the request of the commission.
Very well. Do you have his number, Mr. Tengey?
Yes, I can find that for you after the...
Very well. Now, you spoke about videos. Are you talking about videos of the scene?
Yes.
As the incidents were unfolding?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Have you got them in your custody?
Yes, I have a lot of them.
And
lots of the videos from Joy FM, from City FM, from various media.
Okay, so
I've got lots of them. Lots of them.
If I'm hearing you right, you're talking about videos circulating. Am I right?
Yes, and some specifically directly said to me too.
These videos, are you able to confirm who shot them?
I cannot confirm all of them as to who shot them, no.
But then you can confirm some of them?
Yes. I can confirm, well, I may not know, because some of them shown in various media, for example, the television. For example, Joy Television has shown some, GTV has shown some, City, and so on. So I want to think that it's their journalists who picked the information in the form of films, yeah.
So then I ask you once again, you are referring to the general videos circulating and not specific personal videos. Am I right?
No, I did not take any videos. I don't have any personal videos.
Okay. And you don't have any video shot by anybody you know, apart from the media men?
No.
Very well. I'm done. Mr. Chairman, your witness.
Mr. Delali, how many polling stations are there in your constituency?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
How many polling stations do you have in your constituency?
137. But I heard there was some division of some, so 141, probably for the by-election.
So you are currently watching the live coverage of the A.W.W. Gun Violence Commission of Inquiry. Delali Kwasi Brempong, who is the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in that by-election, is before the commission. He's currently being questioned by Justice Emil Short. Let's join them now.
And of the 8 polling stations that you visited, can you tell me how many of your supporters were in these stations?
Mr. Chair, supporters or agents?
I'm not talking about polling agents.
You're talking about supporters?
Okay, let's deal with polling agents. I assume you had polling agents in every...
Yes. In fact, I only saw my NDC polling agents.
Yes.
After that, it was pretty early in the morning. About something.
Yeah.
So in fact, most of the police stations were quite idle. It was very early. That was around 7:30. Yes. I only wanted to satisfy myself that my polling agents randomly were at post.
And you confirmed that your polling agents were in the stations you visited.
Yes,
Okay.
Chairman.
And were there any of your supporters in any of the 8 polling stations that you visited?
No, Mr. Chairman, I didn't see any
didn't
supporters
see
that
any.
early morning.
Okay, now let's come to your to the polling station near your house. Can you give me an idea of the number of people you came to meet in front of your house?
I think the crowd was large. That's all I can say, because after the incident when I came, you would see, excuse me to say, even the way some people were dressed, you will see that they have just run from their houses to come and see what had happened. So it was quite a large crowd, mixed with the security by police and so on. So I cannot give a figure.
But you said that you had requested human resources from your executives to ensure that the polling went well on this occasion.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yes, Chairman.
And that was part of the reason why there were quite a number of your supporters at the polling station close to your house.
No, Mr. Chairman. Please, let's differentiate my house from the polling station. There are 2 different locations, though they are close.
I know.
Yes.
But I'm referring particularly to the polling station close to your house.
The polling station close to my house, I did not have the opportunity. In fact, because that one I could always go. It was so close. It's a 3-minute walk.
Yeah.
I drove out rather to places that were a driving distance away. But from American House area, ANC Mall area, those are the places I went to. So I don't have any evidence of any supporters at Bawaleshi JHS polling stations. I have no evidence at all.
All right. How many of your supporters were at your house, in front of your house, when you arrived? You said around 8:30.
Yes, after 8:30. This is what I was saying, that you couldn't actually, it was difficult. It was mixed.
Give me an idea of the number of people that you met in front of your house.
Mr. Chairman, I may not be able to guesstimate this. Because as I said, from after the event, it attracted a lot of people. So it will be very difficult to actually say. In fact, it's the people who spread all the way under the trees. When you turn into my house, you have these neem trees all over to the road where the police riot car had parked and so on. People were all under the trees over there. So you would see, it could be quite a large number, but I don't think most of them were coming to my house or were looking for me. They were more onlookers as at the time I got in there. People who were attracted to the happenings. So it was quite a number.
You can't give an estimate?
I'll be wrong. Because in the state in which I was, the shock in which I was, I would not want to give your commission wrong information. I don't want to.
Can I suggest that a number, and let me see what your reaction would be.
Yes.
Would you say that there were about 1,000 people?
Oh, no. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Would you say that there were about
Probably.
500?
Mr. Commissioner, I think I have failed in this one. Perhaps, no, I wouldn't want to guess. Because they were it was a crowd. And in fact, the presence of the police even attracted me more than the security personnel with this much confusion in front of the house. Yes. So if you ask me about how many policemen were there, I could say probably there could be about 20 or thereabouts. That's what I can say. You know, they were in uniform, so it's very easy to say. But there was a large crowd. And as I said, I did believe the way some people were dressed before, under the trees and so on. These were people who were formally traveling to a place. I think this might have been the whole township that might have been thrown to the side.
When you arrived, who did you speak to?
Actually, my nephew and a few of the executives, constituency executives, who happened to be around. They actually came to the car, and I asked what happened. They did not even talk. They only took me to show me, look at the pool of blood. Look at this, look at this. Yeah.
And at what stage did you speak to the police personnel who were there?
Oh, after I had climbed up to own up that I was the owner of the house and I was available for whoever wanted me. Then I descended and went into my office, which is the second building upstairs. Then, in fact, by the time I was aware, they were actually in my office. So I'm sure they might have been observing and probably followed me. I remember 4 officers with some armed men. They came to the office.
Did you show them these bullet marks you referred to in your testimony?
No. I actually thought the police had a message for me. I thought they were looking for Delali Kwasi Brempong for a reason. So I actually was expecting them to charge me or to arrest me or to actually start their investigation. But I realized, though, it appears they were called in after the incident. So, in fact, I might say that I was quite even embarrassed the way I have reacted, because actually they actually came in to ensure there was peace at the place.
But you said that in terms of the sequence of events, you said you were first met by your nephew and
a few people who recognized me,
yes,
when I stopped my car at a distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they took you and showed you.
I asked what really happened.
Yes.
Yes.
And then they took you and please.
Okay.
Let me.
Okay.
When I'm asking, please, if you would.
Okay. Okay, please.
Try not to interrupt my examination. They took you and showed you pools of blood and bullet marks. So it was after that inspection that you met the police officers, right?
Yes, then I climbed up.
Yes.
I climbed up to the staircase where I could see people, so that people can also see me, because the crowd was so much that people might not even know that I was actually in. So I went up to own up that I was Delali Kwasi Brempong, the owner of the house, and so on. And whoever wanted me, there I was. All this must be probably 2 minutes, because this is a short distance, 2-3 minutes. I was up already, owning up that I was available.
And what conversation transpired between you and the police officers who you met?
They were calm. In fact, the police were very calm.
Yes.
In fact, the majority of them were amongst the crowd just near the gate, if I remember, two police ladies, women, were entered the house just at the gate in front of the stairs.
But you did not take these police officers and show them the pools of blood and bullet marks that had been shown to you earlier.
Mr. Chairman, the police were there before I arrived.
Yes, just answer my question.
Yes.
After you
No, I didn't show them.
You didn't show them.
I want to think they saw ADV before I came.
Okay, so tell me exactly when you met the police, what conversation did you have with them?
That is what I said. That I owned up. I introduced myself to the police. Please give me a bit of time to explain this. When I saw the police, I felt myself I was safe. When I saw uniformed police, Ghanaian police, I felt safe. Yes. So I owned up. I told them I was Delali Kwasi Brempong, the parliamentary candidate. So in turn, I expected them to tell me, I mean, what had happened or what the mission was or whether they were looking for me. This was my reaction. Because they were there. In fact, their presence gave me some comfort and a bit of, safety.
Earlier you said you were expecting them to charge you?
No, I asked what the mission was. I wanted to know from them what the mission was. You understand?
Yeah, and what did they say?
Oh, no, they were calm. The police were entirely calm, and I even felt embarrassed about myself. And they told me that they had actually come to maintain peace. And in my narration to you, Mr. Chairman, I also mentioned that before the 4 officers left, they left 9 armed police to guard the house. And they were there till after 5 p.m.
Now, at what stage did you then leave your house and then went to the hospital?
Oh, that was between 10:30 and 11 when...
Sorry?
10:30, 11.
So when you came and you spoke with the police, what happened after that? What did you do after that?
No, they withdrew. The officers withdrew and left 9 officers to guard the house. So some were actually behind the gate, others were behind the first house facing the main house.
Yeah, and what did you do then?
No, I was upstairs.
You were upstairs?
Yes, I was upstairs. I was upstairs. This was about 9-something getting to 10.
Yeah.
And then first we had the press conference around 9:20 when the chairman actually came in. So we had pulled out of the election. When chairman left, I was upstairs. So about 10:30, the national organizer, retired Captain Joshua Kamba, came. And then he led the delegation. In fact, I also was curious to see the victims. So I asked the police, and 3 of them actually sat in the car in which I sat, and they took me to Legon Hospital, following the organizer's car.
Okay, how many people were in your house when you came? Now, I'm not talking about outside your house. How many people were inside your house when you arrived around 8:30?
Probably 50, because see, by the time I opened, the small gate was open for me, and I climbed up. Some people came in, but those were very, very familiar faces, either relatives or friends or constituency executives. And so those were very, very familiar faces.
And they were about 50.
Good. Could be. Could be about 50. Because there were chairs around this thing. That was, yes, could be about 50, 40, 50.
And so after the press conference, it was then that you visited the hospital with 3 police officers.
Yes, Chairman.
Who were these 3 police officers? Do you have their names?
Yes, I think I had their name on a piece of paper in my office. I hope it's still there. I mean, when they were leaving, I asked them to give me their contacts and their names. But they were actually left by Chief Superintendent Kwasi Brempong. He actually left the men in the house.
When you got to the hospital, you take down, did you see the people, how many people you said were injured?
7. Initially 7,
Yeah,
and
okay.
8 came later.
And so you saw 7 people
Yes.
at the hospital. And what injuries, if any, did you see?
Injuries?
Were they injured?
Oh, yes.
Can you, first of all, do you know the names of those 7 people?
No, but I think if chairman is interested, national organizer can actually give their names to you.
National organizer?
Yes, national organizer.
What about the police? Didn't the police obtain the names of those 7 people?
Oh, no. The police, I think their function as at that point was essentially to ensure nobody attacked us or something. I don't think they were the investigators for this. It was later. Please, can I continue? It was later that some officers came from Legon Hospital and brought a statement form. So I want to think the investigation was different from those who were detailed to guard the house,
okay,
and who also accompanied me to the hospital.
These 7 people, were they injured?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Can you describe the injuries that you saw?
If I remember very well, there were various injuries, but I saw one with a big bandage and plasters to the right part of the chest. I saw a bandage also on the arm of one person. I saw somebody whose foot had been traced, and actually with some pad under it. I think those are the ones that I vividly. There was also another one that was being given drip. Yes, I think I remember these 4 instances, but all of them had a form of injury before we got there.
How many people had bandaged wounds? In other words, since the injuries had been bandaged, you couldn't tell the nature of the injuries, right?
Oh, no, certainly.
So when you got to the hospital, you did not see the nature of the injuries of these 7 people?
No, because they had already received, most of them, in fact, they have virtually received medical attention before we got there.
Since this incident, since the 31st of January, have you been invited to give a statement to the police?
Yes, please.
When was that?
Legon Police.
When?
Legon, oh, a few days after. But frankly, I was still in a state of shock after the incident, so I wrote very little for them.
You wrote very little?
Wrote very little. But I drew their attention.
How many days after the incident? After the 31st?
Or probably could be the second 2 days after. But I drew their attention that actually the police were at the site after the incident before I could go to there. Yes. And from interactions, the police actually started their investigation questioning people when they arrived. So I am sure so far as the police machinery was concerned, they started gathering their information that same day.
You also stated that you spoke to eyewitnesses
Yes.
when you arrived. Who were they?
I would say one, I said my nephew.
No.
And
okay, apart from your nephew.
yes, I also spoke to Mr.
The eyewitnesses who you said gave you a narration of what had happened.
Yes.
Who were they? Do you have their names?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I mentioned the name of one Mr. Nathaniel Tenge from my house.
Yes, okay.
Secondly, I said when my nephew and some people noticed my this and walked towards my car, and I asked what had happened. They showed me what was visible for me to see myself. Yes. And then what I went to the hospital to see, and also when we were leaving, the other 8 people who came to add to the 7, those were the things that I saw and verified.
Your nephew was one of the people who told you what had happened?
Yes.
Now, was he...
No, not told me. I asked what had happened.
Sorry?
He showed me more than told me. When they came to the car, which I've just parked before the first house, and I said, what had happened? They said, come and see. They showed me the pool of blood, showed me the bullets on the cars, showed me the bullets on the container, showed me the bullets on the trees, and then the final one on the pillar of the gate opposite my gate. The 15 bullets distance here.
What else did he tell you?
What else
Apart from showing you the pool of blood as well as the bullet marks, what else did he have to tell you?
Oh, later on, in fact, I even spoke to my own son, who was in the house. He gave me a narration. He was in the bathroom when he started, and told me what he had also observed, adding to what my nephew and the friends who showed me.
Can you just tell me what your nephew told you, first of all?
My nephew, as I said, I asked. He and the people who recognized my coming in, when I asked them what had happened, they just said, come and see. So there was, how will I say? There was something to see. Fresh blood still on the ground, bullets through cars, bullet marks on trees, bullet marks on container, bullet mark on a pillar of a display. So there was nothing for them to say apart from showing me what evidence was on the ground.
They did not tell you anything about shooting that had occurred in the house?
No. Who rather told me, when I was upstairs, as I said, a lot of people came in, I asked. In my narration, I said, first I spoke to my son. He was in the bathroom, according to me, when he hurriedly came out. He told
Live on the Joy News channel, this is our live coverage of the A.W.W West Wuogon Violence Commission of Inquiry hearings. We now take you back to the Osu Castle, where Delali Kwasi Brempong is answering questions being posed by commissioners.
As at the time he came, he said the people were actually entering the police station from the left side of the house.
Since this incident, have you spoken to Mr. Honorable Sam George?
No. But interestingly, when
you haven't spoken to him?
No, I haven't spoken to him, apart from saying hi, because when I was driving in on that day, he was hurriedly walking past my house. And in fact, that was a bit curious because I know him well, but he was walking very hurriedly away. So I just said hi.
You had never had you didn't have any discussion with him at that time, and since then you've never.
No. In fact, the mood and the way he was walking, I sensed something had happened. I sensed something had happened, and I didn't think. No, I didn't engage him. I didn't call him from the back to come. No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brempong, for
Mr. Chairman, just a minute with, may I have your permission to confer with him briefly? Yeah. You take it away. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'm done.
Yeah, thank you very much for your testimony. As you spoke, I tried to imagine what had happened. You said you spoke to your son, you spoke to your nephew, and they said they heard gunshots. Your son was in the bathroom, and so he hurriedly left to go and see what was happening. Where was your nephew?
My nephew, when I came in, I said I parked at a distance because there were many cars. He and some other people who knew my car noticed my car, so they actually came to the car.
No, I'm talking of when the firing was going on. Where was your nephew?
Please, I wouldn't know. Madam Commissioner, I wouldn't know.
Okay, because...
But my son who definitely was in the house.
But he heard the gun reports.
Yeah, according to him, the gunshots actually came in 2 lots. There was a few shots first. So he hurriedly got out of the distance, and whilst at the gate, heard at least another over 20 other shots. By the time he could actually open the gate to see, he could see the people in the brown dress and the black destiny retreating from the left side of the gate towards the campus.
So he was not an eyewitness to the shooting?
I think he heard more than saw.
So he heard?
Yes.
So he wouldn't know who was doing the firing?
No, I don't think.
So if somebody said there were people on the side of your house, and they were not inside the house, obviously, firing at people coming towards the house, he wouldn't be able to tell who was doing the firing?
No.
Okay.
No, Commissioner.
How many people were you informed had sustained injuries?
That's 7.
Or sustained wounds. Wounds is better.
Actually, that one I found out at the hospital. 7 people were in the hospital first, and 8 others were brought from the police station. So in all, 15. 15. I saw 15.
Okay.
Later on, went to see one at 37 also. So in all, I saw 16 wounded people.
So the 8 who were brought from the police station, were they the ones who had been arrested?
Yes, Madam Commissioner.
Because there seems to be some discrepancy. Some say 9 were arrested. Some say the station diary says 7 were brought, and now you are saying 8. So how many were arrested? Nobody seems to know.
No, please, I wasn't there before the arrest. But what I saw was their presence at the hospital Yes, but I saw it being led by Mr. Lucho Agbesi.
And the kind of injuries they had told you they came from your house?
That one I wouldn't know, because behind the head of one of them, the way he was bleeding profusely,
Okay.
Madam Commissioner, it was a scene to behold. It was a scene to behold.
If somebody told you that he couldn't have been bleeding much because he may have disturbed an old wound or a wound, would you believe that?
That much bleeding, all behind the distance. How do you disturb a wound? There must be an infliction on the body to cut blood vessels for bleeding. So, Madam Commissioner, it was a scene to behold.
If somebody told you he saw a wound, but it was incapable of giving that much blood that would stain a singlet, and that the person may have used the singlet to wipe his head, what would be your reaction?
Madam Commissioner, what I saw, even in front of my house, pools of blood, not only at one place, and in fact...
No, I'm asking about the person you said was bleeding, because we have no evidence that the pools belong to him.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So I said,
No. These were real deep cuts at the back of his head.
So if somebody told you he looked at the cut and it wasn't serious, it didn't even require going to hospital. I wasn't there. I'm only asking you what I've heard.
Madam Commissioner, what I saw in Legon Hospital, the injury, especially to the back of the head of one of them, I couldn't explain. I don't know whether they were about to slaughter the person or not. I couldn't explain. The back of the... It was a scene to behold. If you excuse me, I just want to leave it at that. It was so emotional to me.
Okay. The 7 injured persons who were in the hospital, who took them there?
I heard the police. I heard it was the police who sent them there. But I did not verify that.
Now, some of the people, obviously some of the 8 that you met, had been sent to the police station, had been interviewed there, and they said, some said they had gone there to protect the ballot, and some said they had gone there to send food to the polling agents. Did you arrange for anybody to protect the ballot?
No. Madam Commissioner, I don't understand that expression. To protect the ballot. I don't understand the expression, but I knew they were supposed to be observers on behalf of the party. Apart from the 2 polling agents, we are supposed to send two observers who could also act as to relieve somebody if a polling agent had to go somewhere. But to protect the ballot, respectfully, I don't understand that expression.
You had asked the party to provide you with human resource for the day. Would you know if anybody arranged for somebody to protect the ballot?
Please, not to my knowledge, Commissioner.
So if the person told the policeman who was interviewing him that he had gone there to protect the ballot, he would be lying?
Please, Commissioner, this one, I think it's above me. Because in the first place, I don't even understand the term to protect the ballot.
Me neither, but that's what we heard in evidence.
Yes, but the Commissioner, in fact, I don't understand the expression. I don't, because I think...
He had gone there to perform security duties, to protect the ballot.
Madam Commissioner, respectfully, I still don't understand the expression and the function.
So you wouldn't know if anybody made some such arrangement using an expression you don't understand?
No, please.
That is all I need to know. Now you said you have a garage.
Yes.
Where sometimes goods are stored.
Yes.
Specifically, you said
caustic soda.
Caustic soda. And did anybody move goods in and out of that garage a few days prior to the election or the day before the election or whatever to arouse suspicion that something untoward was happening?
Please, there is a big vehicle that actually conveys the caustic soda to the garage as and when it is needed to be used. We have these big containers in which they are blended.
Do you make soap?
No, not soap. Actually, they make the solutions for industries, caustic soda solution for various industries. So they are actually made in these big containers.
Your son owns a business that makes caustic soda solutions for
yes.
industries.
Yes, please.
And you store the caustic soda in that garage?
Yes. Actually, as and when, he brings it in large quantities, but as and when he needs some to blend, when the car brings it, they offload it in the garage. They use it. But actually, he actually stores them in customs bonded warehouses.
I'm asking because I'm wondering what gave people the impression something untoward was happening, and so they alerted the national security.
Madam Commissioner, there is no relationship at all between what we routinely do in that house and the by-election. And I suggest, if you permit me, that this was an afterthought by somebody to justify what the violence, the inexplicable violence that happened in front of us.
Nobody has spoken about what you store there. It was from your evidence that I'm trying to surmise that somebody may have seen a vehicle delivering stuff that looked suspicious and may have alerted the security.
But the Commissioner, interestingly, the garage is the very first structure you will see on the left when you're entering the house. So nobody will put in arms there. In fact, I'm not a security expert, but nobody will put arms in that old garage over there. Nobody.
Maybe you don't know too much about arms.
Perhaps, but the Commissioner.
Were you offered police protection before election day? After you filed and were accepted as a candidate and before election day, were you offered any police protection?
No, Madam Commissioner, no.
Okay. Now, these people who were standing around hooting at the brown and black dressed people, who were they?
Their real identity I may not know, but I want to think they were the observers, those people who were actually gathering, either waiting for one function or the other when I was not in. I said they were journalists. I said they were observers. I said they were supporters. At least these three classes of people I am aware of. But you see, the real incident, I wasn't there, so I couldn't have said exactly. But what the narration given was that after the people failed to enter because they had locked the gates, when they were going, then the people in front of the gates started hooting at them. This is what I was told.
So the firing did not start till after they had been unable
to enter
the gate, and then out of annoyance they just fired.
I don't know whether annoyance or embarrassment when they started hooting at them.
Okay.
Because they were actually going back to the field from the left side towards to the field where the police station was before the because
So the people who were wounded, were they among those who were standing and hooting?
I want to believe so.
Do you know that for a fact?
No, I don't know for a fact.
So where were they when?
In front of, Madam, as I said, some people fell when they were shot, and there were pools of blood.
Yes.
At least, yes.
I'm trying to imagine the scene. We
Yes.
will go there, but I'm trying to imagine the scene. So the crowd is gathered here, hooting at people who are moving this way.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so they turn and start firing.
Yes. Because if you see the bullets marks in the trees, it's coming from this direction.
Okay.
The
direction of the house.
No. The direction from left in front of the house. Please.
We will go and see it.
Yes, please.
But I'm just trying to understand that where were these people for them to have sustained these injuries?
In front of the house. Please, if you go and see the bullets, I want to think that most of the people were firing probably may not be very good marksmen, because they hit 15 of the bullets actually hit trees, containers, and cars.
They could also be irresponsible shooters who were just firing because they were annoyed and not aiming at any human being in particular. But that's beside the point. Yes. I'm just trying to understand, where were these people who were wounded? You said, looking at their wounds, they were definitely gunshot wounds. And that's why I'm trying to understand, where were they standing when the shooting was going on, and for them to have sustained those
in
injuries?
Front of my house, there is this street between the two walls, my wall and the other wall. So it's like a street. When the people try to force into the house from the gate, and they acted as what? Barriers. They couldn't go through them. Then they continued to the left side this way. And when they started hooting, according to the story I have heard, the story I've been told, when they were about, say, 30 meters away, and they started hooting at them, then they started shooting into the people. That was the narration.
So the people who were wounded were among the people who were
in front,
hooting, or who were somewhere else?
No, please, they were among the people in front of the. Oh.
I'm trying to imagine it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, let's assume your table is my wall. There is another wall here.
Okay.
Yes. So in between, and this is my gate, the middle of the table here. So the people were all on the street here. Yes. Then the brown trouser, black shirted guys came from that side, did whatever they could, tried to enter the gate from here. They were resisted. So they were withdrawing this way. And then people, as if these people thought probably they might have overcome them or prevented them, so they started hooting at them. Then they started shooting from this direction, this way. And then the trees that took the first 8 bullets are here. The container is also on the right here. The 4 cars are where we have the curtain. So you will see this is the street, and the cars are parked here. You have the trees, you have the pillar, and then you have the container.
I believe when we move to the locus, we will get a better understanding of what happened, because people who are shooting in the direction you are talking about won't be going in a certain direction. So I'm a little confused.
No, they tend. I'm assuming, if it's the same people who passed in front of the gate and went left, and the bullets are coming from that side, then they tend to shoot onto the street here where people were.
You see, there's testimony that some shooting came from your side of things, the road, or your side of things, from some people. That's why I want you to explain properly, where were these people standing and watching? And if somebody turned and fired at them, would the people you found in hospital be in the various states in which they are? It's difficult for me to imagine, but I'll let it pass.
Okay.
When we go to the scene, you'll be there.
Most
so
grateful.
You'll be able to explain what happened.
Madam
Thank
Commissioner,
you, Chairman.
most grateful.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
Are you tired?
Oh, not at all.
Madam, I'm trying to picture the geographical scene you are describing, but I think it would be better if we saw it, and then we'll be able to have a better idea of what happened. So I just try to clarify a few points. When Chief Superintendent Kwasi Fori came to the house, he was with some other officers. About how many?
Well, there were a lot, but about 7 climbed up.
Came to the house?
Yes.
Inside? The rest were outside? Or they were all inside your house?
Please, let me take it again.
Okay.
First, they were outside.
Okay.
When I entered, and after my introduction of myself at the staircase and got down, when I went up, 7 of them followed, led by Chief Superintendent Kwasi Ofori.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And
They followed me too, yes.
And they said, calm down. And after you calm down, what happened? Was there some short discussion before they agreed to leave some people behind as a
Yes. During our discussion, I realized that they were actually called in after the incident. So I actually felt ashamed by saying that, oh, here am I, arrest me if I've committed any crime. No, that was not why they were there. They were actually there to actually stabilize the situation, so to speak.
They were not part of your other friends, the black
No. These are properly dressed officers.
Okay. Okay.
Distinguishedly.
So they left you some protection until what time?
About 5:30.
Oh, okay.
In the evening after voting was over.
Okay. And after he left, you went to the hospital to visit the people?
Yes,
Your first point was to the Legon Hospital?
Yes, Commissioner.
And I wanted to get a picture. I think there are 2 groups of people at the hospital. The first group was the group that you visited.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, and some money was left for their upkeep.
Yes, Commissioner.
And that group was about
7.
7. So when you finished and you were coming, then you saw this second group that was being brought by Mr. Agbesi.
Yes,
and
Commissioner.
They were about
8.
8. So about 15 in all.
Yes, Commissioner.
But the group that you saw, they looked more injured or in much worse condition than those that were being brought by Mr. Agbesi?
No, apart from the first group, the first 7 looked much more injured, yes, except one of them who was bleeding profusely from the back of the head.
The first group?
No, the second.
The second group.
The second group.
Okay, they were in better shape.
Yes.
But the one that was bleeding from the back of the...
Yes.
Oh, okay. But the 2 groups, the 15, do you know any of them? And have you found out, maybe somebody has given you some names?
No, this is what I said. Definitely the national organizer would have the names. Because, you see, he actually was leading the team.
Okay. Oh, okay.
With the police. So, I couldn't have...
Okay. Now, okay, we'll go and see the scene. I was going to ask questions about the bullet marks and things like that, but I think it's better we see it.
Yes, Commissioner.
And, the crime scene people are here, they will arrange with you. They've seen your lawyer, they will arrange, and then they will come and visit. Yes, but were there any injuries to members of your family in the house, apart from your son? Or was there any injury to others?
No injury at all. No occurrence, no actual violence in my house. It was in front of the house.
Because the gates were closed, none of the bullets actually entered your house.
As I said, the wall was tall.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sorry, the wall is tall.
Yes. Okay. So you are confirming that the people were firing at people, not in the air. That's what you were told.
Commissioner, I think we'll need your expert eyes, especially from the direction of the bullets and the 15 marks.
To see, okay. But at least your son must have had more than, okay, about 20 shots. He had about 20 shots. Have you spoken to any other person in the house who also had some shots?
Not from the house, but from other onlookers. Some even said they had 60, some said 30.
Okay.
But I have evidence. I've been shown evidence of at least 15 shots.
Okay. The saloon where you said there were 1 or 2 marks, that saloon. You said
the container.
The kiosk.
It's a container, actually.
It's a container?
Yes.
Oh, it's not a saloon?
No, it's not a saloon.
Oh, okay.
The saloon is to the...
Was anybody hurt in that?
No, Commissioner.
Were they there at the time of the incident, those who own the container? Or is owned by your people?
No. I asked the woman sitting right in front of it had gone to vote.
Okay.
Yes, but there was a teller and then the saloon that you're talking about, they were present.
And then the house opposite yours, where you say you've seen 2 bullet marks.
One bullet on the pillar of their gate.
But nobody was injured in that house?
No, Commissioner.
Have you spoken where in there?
The owner, Mr. Daniel, actually also gave me a thorough account of most of the narrations that I did.
Mr. Daniel?
I only know him as Mr. Daniel. He has a workshop opposite my gate.
Yes. What sort of workshop?
They do these security wires which they put on a fence wall.
Okay. And then the pools of blood, was it one pool you saw at one place or different places?
No, different places. Different places.
But at this moment, what has happened to them? What has happened to the blood?
Oh, most of them have dried up.
They have dried up.
Initially, they were barricaded so that people did not walk through them.
Yes.
But I think over 2 weeks now.
At least you cover them so that they wouldn't be disturbed.
Yes, and I think 2 of the spots was very close to the woman who sells in the corner there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure even they might have poured sand or something just to make it more pleasant for them.
Okay, when we come, we'll see exactly what you are describing, and then we'll have a better picture. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Before you go, I have 1 or 2 more questions. There has been, I'm sure you are aware, a lot of discussion about political vigilantes or militias owned by the 2 dominant political parties, the NPP and NDC. You've heard these discussions.
Please, a bit louder, please.
I said, have you heard all the discussions about political vigilantes or militias? Some people prefer to call them political militias, owned and funded by the 2 major political parties, the NPP and NDC. You've heard the discussion?
Yes, I've heard some discussions.
Okay. Are you aware that these 2 parties own political militias?
Chairman, I don't have the details, but I have heard some of the discussions. I don't have the details, but I have heard some of the discussions.
I'm asking you whether you know as a fact that the NDC and NPP have political militias or political vigilantes.
Yes, I have heard. For that of NDC, I have not directly related to them nor benefited directly in any way, so I cannot confirm that one.
But you know they exist?
I have heard that, is it how they call them? Is it Hawks? Some name I have heard. Yes.
You heard?
You know, these things are actually at a certain level. I am just a mere parliamentary candidate at a constituency level. So I have heard, but I don't have details.
It's at a higher level.
Yes. Because I am told, for example, the people who were alleged to have come to cause the atrocities in front of my house, the officers, I've been hearing names like national, how do you call it? National security, and all kinds of big names. So I want to think this is at very high institutional levels. You know, I'm just a mere parliamentary candidate 4 hours away, so I may not know the details. Sorry?
All right. Since you...
Please.
You are not confident about the existence or the ownership of the political militias, particularly those allegedly owned or funded by your party, the NDC.
Mr. Chairman, my tiny view from what I have heard, I don't believe these groups are actually owned by the party. So I believe these are, how do the Italians call them? Mafians. Some political mafians who actually encourage people, I use hooliganism, they say hoodlumism, is that it? To cause confusion. And if it is really true, I want to appeal to your commission that the police and the military in this country have to sit up, or we are all finished. From the little I saw in front of my house, if these mafians actually have these men under them, and this is the kind of thing they want to do in politics in Ghana, we finished. The police and the military in this country must sit up.
What should the political leadership of your party do to avert the sort of situation you are describing?
I think I will consult my bosses. Yes, I will give an idea. I don't believe these people are owned by the parties. They are owned by mafias, kingpins.
Within the parties?
Within the parties.
And the mafias or kingpins within your party, you know them?
This is why I say, Mr. Chairman, if you permit me, I could actually work on this, research on this. I have heard the names, but I don't believe NDC as a party or NPP as a party would want to encourage this kind of things. But I am sure there are some notorious mafians, wicked mafias within them that are making use of these people to cause political confusion. And my humble plea before you, Chairman, is that the police and the military in this country must sit up and do their work.
You have no idea or opinion as to what the political leadership of your party must do to stop their illegal activities?
Okay. Mr. Chair, I will ask permission to probably speak to my national chairman to actually be well informed about this matter.
Okay, I won't bother you anymore with that. All right. I think that will be all for today. We would let you know when we'll be coming to the site. We want you to be present, and there will be other people so that you can explain, further, you can clarify some of the evidence that you have given before us. Okay?
Most grateful, Chairman. But one appeal. Yes. For the marks, you recall I used the expression wounds, yes, on the trees because, you know, they can regenerate. So the earlier the experts come to see? Because, you know, as... Yes.
Yeah. Some of the experts, some of them are around. So I think your council has seen them, and they will be going right away to take the necessary pictures and so on. But in addition to that, it might be necessary for us to visit the location, and at that during that period also, we would like you to be present to clarify some of your testimony.
Most grateful, Chairman.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are we to await your ruling on our request to recall witnesses?
To call witnesses.
To recall witnesses.
To recall witnesses. Which,
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm talking about witnesses of the commission who might have given evidence, you know, that touch and concerns what, I mean, the specific evidence that he has given today.
And you are basing this application on which provision?
Specifically, Article 282, Clause 2 of the Constitution, as well as... My Lord, that basically, sorry, Mr. Chairman, that basically establishes the right to counsel. And pursuant to that, the constitutive instrument in Rule 12, Sub-Rule 2C, provides the basis to cross-examine witnesses of the commission on evidence that has been given before the commission.
There's no 2C. There's no 12.2C. Can you?
Mr. Chairman, I probably...
can you read the specific provision you are relying on?
It's Sub-Rule 2, actually. And it says, and I read, a lawyer or an expert witness appearing for a person whose conduct is the subject of the inquiry, and any other lawyer appearing before the commission may cross-examine a witness after the cross-examination of the witness by the lawyer for the commission having regard to Article 282 of the Constitution.
Yes.
And it is based upon this that we are saying that we want to exercise a right to recall some of the commission's witnesses who have given evidence before the commission that touches and concerns the evidence of Mr. Brempong Delali this morning.
But this provision doesn't talk about recalling witnesses.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but if you have a right to cross-examine, you have the right to cross-examine a witness who has already given evidence before the commission.
You are adding words to the provision which do not exist. First of all, is your client a person whose conduct is the subject of this inquiry?
That is why he's testifying. And in fact, in your invitation...
Because there are a lot of people who are appearing before this commission. Now, are you saying that your client is a person whose conduct is the subject of this commission's inquiry?
Mr. Chairman, there are two types of witnesses. There is the witness whose conduct is directly the subject matter of the inquiry. And then there are witnesses who did not conduct themselves in a manner that gave rise to the inquiry, but who were either eyewitnesses or material witnesses that the commission has called.
Let's confine the discussion to the precise words of the provision.
That is so, Mr. Chairman.
It says a lawyer or an expert witness appearing for a person whose conduct is the subject of the inquiry. And I'm asking you, is your client a person whose conduct is the subject of this commission's inquiry?
Not directly, Mr. Chairman.
Oh.
But, Mr. Chairman, if I may refer you to Article 282 of the Constitution. And it says in material terms, any person whose conduct is the subject of the inquiry by a commission of inquiry, or who may in any way be implicated or concerned in the matter under inquiry. So in this case, he is concerned in the matter under inquiry. And because the Constitution is superior to the constitutional instrument, we rely on the constitutional provision to exercise the right to recall certain witnesses who gave evidence before your commission that impacts upon or concerns the evidence of Mr. Delali this morning, Mr. Brempong, sorry.
You see,
Mr. Chairman, if I may elaborate, for instance...
You are referring to recall of witnesses.
That is so.
Who have already testified.
That is so, Mr. Chairman.
We don't see anything in this provision which talks about recalling of witnesses.
Yes, inherent in the right to cross-examine is the right to recall the witness so you are able to cross-examine the witness. The reason is that my client was not here at the time that that evidence was given. So the cross-examination should have been instantaneous. If he were here, he could have applied for and been given the opportunity to cross-examine. But he was not here. And I think that inherent in his right to counsel and then his right to a fair hearing before this commission is the right to cross-examine persons whose evidence in some way or the other touch upon what he has said today. For instance, Mr. Chairman, there's the evidence that I think in your line of cross-examination and that of Madam Commissioner Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, the evidence of shooting that took place or is alleged to have taken place from his house. And that was given by witnesses who preceded him before this commission. It will be only fair for him to be given the opportunity through his counsel to cross-examine those witnesses. That is the point that I'm trying to drive across to the commission humbly.
Would, as I indicated earlier, we would reserve our decision and communicate it to you at a later date.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm most grateful, and thank you for the opportunity this morning.
Okay. You're free to leave now.
Thank you.
This is still our continued coverage of the Commission of Inquiry that's sitting at the Osu Castle over what happened at Bawaleshi, precisely about the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections. Of course, you've just listened to Delali Kwasi Brempong, who was the NDC candidate for that particular by-election there. He is represented by Dominic Ayeni, former Deputy Attorney General there. Of course, Mr. Ayeni has been trying to get what they call request for recall, and he basically means by that they wanted to cross-examine persons who have already spoken or persons who have already submitted their testimony before the commission. And he says this is in specific relation to the fact that there were reports that there were gunshots coming from, or there have been testimonies that there were gunshots coming from Mr. Delali Kwasi Brempong's house. The chairperson of the commission, Emil Short, says that decision will be communicated to them at a later date as to whether or not they will be allowed to cross-examine witnesses or persons who have already submitted their testimony. But earlier on today, there was Colonel Opoku, who we understand is the Director of Operations at the National Security. He was there to present his own testimony about everything that happened, and very interesting revelations as well, which seem to have been what has characterized this particular sitting. He says that he's been reacting. He says that the Hawks, or the party militia group called the Hawks, that's allegedly belongs to the NDC, are to blame for some of the things that happened. After him was Delali Kwasi Brempong, who has just finished. We understand that A.W.W. and Paul Adomotri are two other journalists who are supposed to appear, but from from what the chairperson says, it will not happen today. It's been adjourned, and so we'll be here to bring you all of that. But it's been a very long day for the two persons who have been witnessing, who have been sharing their own testimony there. Very shortly, we'll be getting into the polls where we have a lot more discussions on this matter. But the hashtag has always been, since, starting today, disband party militias now. Disband party militias now. Earlier on, Mr. Brempong spoke about political or party militia as well when Emil Short brought that to his attention, whether or not he knew them, whether or not he knew how they operated within the NDC. He's also describing them with a totally different phrase. He's calling them mafias, and he says that these mafias are within the party, and so these organizations or these groups do not necessarily belong to the party. They belong to mafias within the party. As to what to do with them, he says he'll have to consult with his party to bring you that. We'll take a very short break here.